Today is really the first day of the trail home, and so these cattle have been out on pasture, since this spring, calved out here. We took them up on the mountain, we branded the calves, we started down off the mountain and weaned the calves. So they've just been out to pasture right now, so it's time for them to come on home to the farm fields. So today's the first day of that trail, and we've spent the last 2 days kind of just getting them put all together into one pasture here. And so it should be a fairly quick gather, and then we'll get right on the trail, and should be about 10 or 11 miles today, I'm guessing. And then tomorrow we will make it the rest of the way to the south side of the farm fields, and that trail is about 16 miles on that last day, so that's a pretty good trail. But today we're gonna trail to a pasture we call Mud Creek, and from there we'll sort off about 240 cows and we'll haul those to some pasture for the winter, and then the rest of them will go ahead and trail the following day. So it ought to go pretty smooth. They know the trail. They've done it a lot of times. Some of the younger cows will be kind of scattered out, but some of the older cows will be waiting to go this morning. If we had a little weather, they'd all be waiting to go. So for the most part, as excited as they were to go out there this spring, they're just as excited to get back home. And so they know what's ahead of them. They know they've got good feed for the winter to come on to. Things are getting a little short out there, so it's kind of satisfying to take them both directions generally, because they want to come home, and then once we eat these pastures out during the winter, they want to go back out when things are greening up again. So it's a pretty good cycle. Pretty unreal. The weather we've had this year is, we've been in a drought situation. We did actually pick up a few fall rains that kind of green things back up this fall, but the grass is short. We've had some unusually warm weather here lately. And in fact, tomorrow I think there's forecasted 60-degree temps for tomorrow, 1st of December. And so those cows they'll be sweating it up on the way home. We'll probably try to get a pretty early start tomorrow just to beat the heat, if you can imagine doing that in December in Wyoming. But we'll be trailed in before it gets too hot, both today and tomorrow. We're due for some fall moisture, that's for sure. We could use some good heavy snow this winter, fill some of those reservoirs that are getting pretty dry. Developed a couple springs this summer, and one of which I've never seen dry, but it was just a wet seep when we developed it. So that's the indication of how dry we've been up there. But Hollywood. Jeez, I was terrible at this. Boy, Jude, go get him up. Looks like the cows we dropped off here yesterday afternoon scattered out pretty good, so we'll just collect them all up here this morning. They just a hoop and a holler, and there's already some of them starting to move. They know the routine. The dogs aren't quite as fresh today, so
just moving some cows out of the west pasture. First time out with the pup. It's doing pretty good.
these trails are real good for these green horses. It seems to help them just getting behind a set of cows, and they don't have to worry too much about where the other horses are, and you can really get a lot of things
done on a 10-mile trail that you've been wanting to work on. In an ideal world, you'd have some pretty green ones ready to come out with the cows in the spring, and then by the time you're coming home with the cows, those horses would be pretty well ready to go on, and they're pretty well on their way by the time you're coming home with the cows. So, but this year just had a lot of stuff going on and a lot of projects, and so we're back with Valor again. He's come along pretty good. We'll get started on some groundwork and see how it goes. We've just been a little bit behind on some of these horse projects. So this is Valor, my cousin Riley Olson. He sent him to me, and I've been a little bit behind on him too, but he's coming along. He's had a few issues, but I think today's going to be kind of that day when things get pretty settled with him too. I'm not much of a bronc rider, so I gotta get him pretty darn good. We'll see. He bucked Branson off and he bucked me off once. And
big horse?
Yeah, so we'll see. This is the best thing. We took him to the feedlot this morning with us. Just let him like follow us around, and he got a little bit spooked and jammed up there at the feedlot. We weren't riding him or anything, you know, to just pony him around a little bit. And to him now, this being outside and just being open without all that chaos of the feedlot, it's like dream come true, you know. So he's a lot older than we would normally get one started. We got a little behind on him, and he had a couple of bad experiences bucking me off and bucking Branson off, and Caden came and kind of helped us out with him a little bit and put a few rides in the round pen with him. I've been on him one time outside since then, and it was pretty good. And Jay wanted to give him a go today. And this, when we're coming home and when we're trailing, these are wonderful rides for these green horses. You know, nothing's pressing. We're not sorting nothing. We're just moving cows and covering some country. When Jay's done with him here after 3 or 4 hours or whatever, he'll be a new horse. And then we get 3 or 4 more of these under his belt, and he'll be really good. He's a nice looker too. I like him. So we're riding some green ones on the way home, I guess. This is the VW reservoir. Got a little ice on it, but here, come here, easy now. 8, easy. I'll get a quick drink and come here. Yeah, let him drink. Good boy, Jude. Usually this time of year, we've got snow on the ground and reservoirs are froze over, and cows are kind of eating snow. This has been a good old reservoir. We went through a drought one year and this got pretty low. Never completely went dry, but it got low, and I expect if we continue on with another dry winter here, we're going to see this reservoir probably go dry this next year. Send the dogs around after that. Cal. Hey, go way around. Get her up. Get her up. Here. Easy now. Easy now. Easy. Jude. So the gate's just right up there where them cows are kind of sitting. We're just kind of trying to make our way up towards the lead. Drags can tip over that hill pretty quick. So we'll go on up to the gate. There's a few over there that Dustin and Dad will pick up. And then kick the gate open and we'll be on our way. Trailing out nicely. Sometimes on these warmer years, they're a little more, maybe a little confused about, you know, what we're up to. It doesn't feel right to them to be this warm and to be heading home. You know, we've had trails coming home when this deal's been snowed up in 20 below. So especially the younger end of things can be a little confused, but looks like everything's lining out pretty well this morning and in the mood to travel home. So the only time they're ever in this pasture is when we come out in the spring. And so the only time they're ever trailing through this direction would be heading home. I would say most everybody knows what we're up to. So I'd like to get up to the gate before too many cows get up there. I don't like to slow up the lead here any. A lot of times you'll get some good lead cows in the front and they know exactly where they're going and how to get there, and so you don't want to pile a bunch of other cows on top of them and take a chance of having another cow that maybe doesn't know where she's going take the lead. She could lead you down off into a draw or something like that. We'll try to get up to the gate before too many of the lead gets up there. Some up there coming down the hill towards the gate. These girls don't need to trot. Jude, come here. All right, we got the gate open. So, Jude, that'll do. Well, we finally got officially on the trail through the gate. Man, they had quite a time after we left the gate. Just had a little bit of a mix up there, and some cows started off on the wrong direction, and so I had to leave the lead and get some of that headed off. And anyway, we got everything kind of back on the trail and coming.
Yeah, we had a group of cows get away on us. They headed south down a hill, and I mean, it was a foot race. The cows are real confused this year because you know, it's been so warm. It's usually snowing, and shoot, we brought them out of here in a blizzard a lot of times, and they're just not figuring out it's time to go home. And so many of them want to go back to the south, and we're wanting to head north. And Vanny wore his horse out. He had to take my horse, and I mean, you couldn't beat him. It was a foot race down to the bottom and rough draws. And so, man, we finally got them stopped. I think we might have one back there yet, and kind of finally got things on the trail. So we're good to go, but our horses are shot. There are a couple of them anyway. The guys that were in the back are pretty good shape yet. So anyway, hopefully we don't have any more of them today. We shouldn't, I don't think.
It's always kind of neat when the cows get on the trail and they just quit bawling. All you hear is the sound of the feet hitting the road. You tired, old fat boy?
It's about 11:30, so we made pretty good time with the lead here. Usually by the time we get here, drag will be about an hour and a half behind the lead here, so we'll get a count in, and that'll be it for today. Thank goodness it is starting to get warm. Man, it's got to be
55 degrees right now, I'll bet. The rest of us will kind of go straight down the road here and then split up after that and come down.
Okay.
And then we're gonna just come on around here, and they're gonna end up with just a pile of them in that corner over there.